craziest food you had on your mission?
All right. That's actually hard because English speaking, well, stateside, mostly English speaking, I didn't really have very crazy food, but occasionally I had some good Hispanic food, and none of it was really crazy. I could stomach it all very well. It all tasted good. My favorite dish, though, I think, was this soup. It's called sopa de res. I'm not even sure what's in it, but it was really good. There was some meat, some potatoes, some Hispanic kind of fruit thing. It was really good. I liked it a lot.
What was one of the most crazy or dangerous experiences you had?
All right. So, nothing terribly crazy, but one time I thought this drunk guy might jump us because we actually broke a rule. This is why you keep the rules. But it was a cold day, really windy, and we were just tracting. And this lady let us in. She was really young, probably 25, 27. And she just let us in. We just stood in the doorway and talked to her for a brief second. Turned out she was actually a member of the church. And so anyway, then we left. And we wanted to come back when her husband was there. And that was the rule, is you're not alone with women. You're not supposed to be. And her husband wasn't there. And we went in the house anyway. So anyway, we came back like 2 weeks later to follow up, and hopefully her husband was home. Well, he was, but he was super, super drunk and super not happy that we had gone in the house. So they had some gathering going on, and he sent his wife inside like, great, he's going to try to do something. So anyway, he was getting all up in our faces, just trying to intimidate us, but I was still a greenie, and so I was really like, oh shoot, like what's he going to do? And so I really thought he might jump us. And then he invited us back because he actually wanted to talk to us when he was sober, and I was so scared that whole time. But it turned out all right, and well, he wasn't interested, but he didn't jump us either, so that was good.
What was one of the most spiritual or important lessons you learned on your mission?
One of the most important lessons I learned on my mission was in the realm of leadership. In general, I just learned how to be a leader. And the thing is, you have to be loving with the people you're leading. I was a district leader a few times, and you've got to just be kind with them. You've got to be patient with them. You've got to understand them. Also, I learned something that was this, that you've got to first seek to understand the person, and then you can teach them, then you can help them. That applies to your investigators, your less active members you work with. That applies to your members you work with. And it certainly applies to the missionaries you lead. Whether that's as a district leader or just as a member of the district or the zone, by example. You've got to understand them first and seek to understand them. And then you can help them, and they will trust you because of that.
What was one of the greatest skills you gained?
One of the greatest skills I gained as a missionary, I think, was to be more outgoing. Naturally, I'm very withdrawn in a new situation and with people I don't know. But now I'm able to just talk to people. Like before my mission, I would never just start talking to somebody at the gas station who was getting a drink. But now I'll be getting my soda. I'll just look over and say, hey, how's it going? And just make friends. And so it's really great. I'm a lot more outgoing and able to talk with people in that way.
What was one of the most spiritual experiences you had? The time you felt the Spirit the strongest?
Oh, it's hard. There's many of those situations. I think in the field, there were a couple of times where I just knew that the Spirit was guiding us. One time, we had set up to go on splits, so my companion was going to go with someone, and I was going to go with another member. Well, they both either forgot or didn't tell us that they weren't going to be able to make it. So we're up a creek without a paddle, and we're in an area that we weren't planning on working in, and we were on foot. So we had to work in that area for time's sake. And so we had nothing. So we tried to follow up on some people that we knew that were there, and nothing was working out. And then I thought, oh, there's this guy just down this street. Let's try him, because we hadn't been able to get a hold of him for a while. So we knock on his door, and he was home, which is a miracle. This was in North Dakota where everybody's always working. So he's home, and he said, elders, come in. How did you know you needed to come? I needed you today. And so we shared a lesson, and he just kept saying, like, how did you know that you needed to come. I thought, well, it was the Spirit. The Spirit set it up. And so it was really great. We got to give him a blessing, and he had a rough day, and it was really helpful for him. And so I knew that my companion and I knew that we were following the Spirit, and that we were able to be a tool in the Lord's hand. And that was really cool.
What is the craziest weather you had?
Craziest weather was 50 below wind chill. This was actually in Sioux Falls. Like I said, it's cold there. And indeed, it's very cold. The ambient temperature was usually, in the winter, there was a good portion of time, few weeks at least, where it was high of -10 ambient. And then you throw in the wind chill and it brings it down to -20, -30. Well, one time the wind was crazy and it was -50. And you actually don't have to go out when it's that cold if you don't want. But we wanted to go out because we'd been inside all day anyway. So we're walking around in this 50-degree wind chill, and it was really, really cold. But it got us in a door. So all weather is good weather because it gets you indoors.
Best piece of mission prep advice you could give someone?
Best mission prep advice: teach. If you can, go teaching with the missionaries. That's the best because that's actual experience. If you can't do that, at least just teach your family members, your friends, someone. Practice going through the lessons, practice adapting to their needs. And I think that will help the most.
What do you admire most about the people you served on your mission?
The thing I admire the most is their willingness to help. Especially among the Hispanics. Like I said, they're very missionary oriented. And the best way to become a missionary's favorite member is to give them referrals. And the referrals are actually kind of tough to come by, but people are always so willing to help out the missionaries. They're very missionary minded, especially among the Hispanics and especially among the people in the oil field.
Funny language mistake.
Funny language mistake. I actually don't remember offhand any really funny language mistakes. Sorry.
That's all right. One of the hardest experiences with you?
Hardest experience. So this was a really tough companion. You're going to have those. You got obedient missionaries, you've got very disobedient missionaries, and you've got some missionaries that are actually obedient, but they're just stubborn and difficult to work with. You've got a big span of those things, and so I was working with a companion that I just did not get along with. He was so hard for me to get along with, and he with me, and it was rough. I was with him for 3 months, and finally it all came to a head, and he basically just blamed the whole situation of our area, which was going downhill, on me. And oh man, that was really rough. I would say I was actually depressed for a few days as I dwelt on that, thinking that, oh well, maybe this is my fault. And so just working with him was very, very difficult for me, but it worked out. I got transferred, and then I saw him towards the end of my mission. I was in the neighboring district, and I saw him a few times, and we're good friends now. But in the time, that was a very difficult experience.
What's one of the best piece of advice you could give for someone, a returned missionary, just getting home?
A returned missionary just getting home. Just jump into life. Definitely seek to keep your habits. Don't just jump all the way back into this media and all this stuff you were doing before your mission, because you want to keep the changes you made on your mission, because that's huge, that's very important. But at the same time, you need to move on. Keep yourself busy. Go on dates and just jump in. If it's really hard for you, some people it's really hard. Sometimes for other people it's really not hard. It wasn't very hard for me. But if it is, just pray for strength and lean on your friends and your family, and just keep yourself busy with dating, school, work, whatever. Just keep yourself busy.